guys, so I've already mentioned this, but we are going to be running math class a little bit differently moving forward. You're going to come in, we're going to do now as usual. Once your roll is called, you're going to grab your Chromebook and place it to the side. When your do now is done, you will navigate to my website and click on the video for the day. This video will go over the do now, the homework, and then teach you the new lesson. So make sure that you have all of your materials out and ready. If at any point you need to stop or rewind the video, you are more than welcome to. That's why we're doing class this way, actually. You can also rewatch things later on in class if needed. If at any point you need me, as always, I am just one hand raised away. I'm still going to be walking around the room. So there might be times in this video when I tell you to pause it to complete an activity or a set of questions and then have you hit play again. So just make sure you're doing that. Okay? So let's pretend that you are just starting out your video today. I would be going over the do now, which I'm not doing right now because I didn't make it yet. Then I would go over homework. But since we didn't have any homework over the weekend, we don't have anything to go over. So we're moving into the lesson. So as you guys are well aware, we have not used calculators for about the last 2 months. I know a lot of you have been very unhappy about that, but good news is we're actually starting to use them again today. We're actually going to spend the entire day on calculators. We're going to be we're going to be learning different keys that you might not already know and how to use them on the calculator. So there are so many more things than you guys know that you can do on these calculators, which is great. But one thing I want you to keep in mind for this, we are using calculators now because the goal is not about the computation of the math. The goal is the other processes there. So if you're ever required to determine a computational solution, like just 2 minus -3, you're computing that, you're doing a computation. So that would be something where you weren't allowed a calculator. It would probably be like a book 1 of the state exam kind of thing. But most of the other stuff, we're worried about the process for everything else more than we're worried about you knowing what 3 times 7 is. Okay? So that's why we're going to be using them again, and we're going to teach you some more things that you can do on these calculators. Okay? So we're starting off with the fraction key. This one, the ABC key, as I refer to it, we talk about all the time, or we did in the beginning of the year. So this one shouldn't be new. So this key, just follow my cursor, it's going to be right here. So it's 1 in from the right-hand side and 3 down. And that you're going to be using just to write or type in a fraction. So unfortunately, you can't see me type that in because I don't have one of the calculators at home with me right now. But you would do, so for here, for number 1 under the fraction key, you would do 2, and then you hit that ABC key, and then you hit 3. So that fraction's over, so now we would just move on to multiplication. Multiply by 4, and now I lost my document. Oh, sorry. So it would be 2, ABC key 3, times 4. Okay, so that's all you'd be doing now. Number 2 is a little bit different. For this one, because you have 1 and 1/3, there's kind of like different parts to that fraction. You have 1 and 1/3. So you're going to do 1 ABC key 1 ABC key 3. So it's 1, start the fraction, 1, finish out the fraction, 3. And then you're just going to do your -5 like normal after that. Okay? So 3, you're going to have 5/8 divided by 1/2. So 5 ABC key 8 divided by 1 ABC key 2. And the last one in this section is going to be number 4. So this one is just a mixed number and a regular fraction in there. So 3 ABC key 2, ABC key 3. So it's 3 2/3 minus 7 ABC key 8. Okay. Just make sure 3 2/3. It's not 32 ABC key 3 because that's actually saying 32/3, and that's something entirely different. Okay, so you want to always make sure you're being careful of that. So we're going to move on to our next button. Our next button is going to be the negative button. So this one is kind of like an obvious button, but it's not one that we've used very often since you just learned negative numbers during Module 2. Okay, so all we're doing here, remember these parentheses, they're not absolute value signs. You don't have to do anything on the inside of that parentheses. It's just a -6 here, okay? So this is -6 times 4. So all you have to do here is hit this negative key. So this negative is right on the bottom here. It's the bottom right white key. Also at this point, if you don't have one of our calculators, the ones that I have in the CalcPal, you're going to want that instead of yours. If you want to have both of them out, that's good, but we might have keys that are different than yours. So if you ever want me to look at your calculator and tell you what keys in your calculator are different and how to do things on there, I'm always willing to do that. Just make sure you pick the right time for that, okay? Anyway, so -6 and then times 4. Okay, all you're doing here. Number 2, so this is -1 minus 5. Okay, so -1 minus 5. That's all you should be typing here. Number 3, that's going to include your -5/8 divided by 1/2. So it's going to be -5 ABC key 8 divided by 1 ABC key 2. Okay. And then enter after all of these, obviously. And then 4 is the last one for this section. 3 ABC key 2, ABC key 3. So it's 3, and then start that fraction with the 2 and the 3. Minus -7 ABC key 8. Right? So just make sure you're careful with that. So at this point, if you have not already done all the questions for the fraction key section and the negative key section, I want you to go ahead and work on those. We're going to move on. Keep moving on, though. Oh, sorry, I'm like jumping in and out of this right now. Still trying to figure out how to work this, obviously. Oh yeah, I have touchscreen. Okay. Sorry. You gotta get my goofiness in here somehow. Alright, so the next one is going to be converting mixed numbers to improper fractions. Well, we can do that on the calculator. So normally we would do C is for cookie, we would do 3 times 5 plus 2. Still possible, still can be done, but the calculator does it for us. This might not be something that you use very often, but it's also good to know. Okay. So all you're doing here is you're going to type it in, but you're going to type it in using the ABC key first. So you're going to do 5 ABC key 2 ABC key 3. So you do have to type it in originally using the ABC key. And then you're going to hit the button that looks like this. Okay, it's A, B, C, and then there's little arrows, and then D, E. That button is actually the same button as the ABC key, but you have to hit the second button first. Okay, so let's go through this again. 5, ABC key 2, ABC key 3. That's 5 2/3. And you're going to do second and the ABC key again, because that's the conversion key, and hit enter. Okay, so anytime you hit second, you're going to be activating that light blue, if you have one of our calculators, that light blue label on the top of these, not the one that's already on the button. It's the one above you're going to be activating. Okay. So we'll do it again. We're just going to do one more with this one. So 1 1/3. So we're going to do 1 ABC key 1 ABC key 3. And then we're going to do second ABC key and then enter. Okay. All right, next. Now we have fraction to decimal. So this is just going to take any fraction you have, convert it to a decimal. So we did this beginning of last week, and then on your test, where all you did is just 2 divided by 3. You can also just type 2 divided by 3 in your calculator if you prefer that. But this is a cool little key to have, and it's nice to use. So when you type in the fraction, you're going to type it in using the ABC key first. And then you're going to hit the F to D one after that, which is actually the one above. So the key actually says PRB, but above it is the F to D. So that means we're going to do second PRB, which is going to give us the F to D. Okay, so fraction to decimal, that's all it's saying there. So we have 2/3, so we're going to type it in 2, ABC key 3, and then you're going to hit second, and then that PRB F to D button right here. Okay, and then enter. And you should get 0.6 repeating. But at the end, it's going to have a little 7 because it likes to round it on us. All right, and then number 2 is the last one. We'll do the whole row quickly. 1, ABC key 1, ABC key 3, and then second PRB. And that's it. So I was wrong there. We're not going to do the whole row here. You're going to finish out the rest of those. We're going to move on to percent. So percent here, the percent key is, hold on, I lost it. What? Oh, right here. Okay, sorry. Found it. It's on top of the left set of parentheses. So it's right here. It's the key above the 8. So you're going to just do 52nd percent. So to hit the second first, and then the percent, and hit enter. 121 second. This key here, enter. Okay, so number 3 and 4 just get a little harder. It's just adding a multiplication problem into it. But it's just 35 second, this key here, and then times your 14. Then 32.5 times 5, and then you hit your second and your key. Okay. So we're more than halfway through now, which is good. So we're at pi now. This is that decimal that has to do with circles, and we'll talk way more about that coming like January, February, March-ish. I can't remember exactly when. But so all we're going to be doing here, this is just multiplication 5 times pi. So your pi key is this one right here. It's 4 down from the second key. And all you're going to do is do 5, and then hit pi, and hit enter. If you wanted to do the little multiplication in between, you can, but the calculator actually knows that you're going to do that when you do a number and pi. Okay? So 5 times pi, or just 5 pi, and hit enter. 1 pi, hit enter. Here you have 36 pi, so 36 pi divided by 2, enter. All you're doing here. All right, last 2, we're almost there. So 2 squared, so the squared key is going to be right here. So you're just going to do 2 squared, enter. Done. Okay. This one, only difference here is that this is a negative 18, so you actually have to type in those parentheses when it's a negative. So you're going to do parentheses, negative 18, parentheses, and then that x squared key. Okay. The other 2 here will be fine. This one is just that pi. Remember that pi symbol and square that. All right, last one on the challenge questions. Those are up to you to do on your own. But so 2 to the third power. So the caret key allows you to do an exponent that's not 2. So instead of squaring it, you can cube it or put it to the 4th or 5th or 6th or 0 power, any power you want. So we're going to use this key right here. It looks like the caret you talked about in ELA. So 2 caret 3, enter. And that's all you're doing for all of these. 2 caret whatever number. So negative 18 caret 3, and that's it. So make sure that you finish up the rest of these questions. Try out those challenge questions as well. Make sure you're pushing yourself. If you need to rewind this at any point, feel free to rewind it. If you need me, raise your hand, and I'll be around. All right?